All right, let's get right into it. We're going to break down a really disturbing trend that's been popping up all over YouTube. We're talking about this whole network of channels that are using AI to cook up fake news, and it's almost always targeting Black celebrities. This is a story that's got everything: technology, straight up misinformation, and a really cynical way of exploiting people's trust. So, yeah, let's dive in. Okay, so just picture this. You're scrolling through YouTube, minding your own business, and then bam, a title like this pops up in your feed. Breaking news: Diddy is found guilty and arrested in Tupac's case. I mean, whoa! It's shocking, it's super specific, and it feels like you have to click on it, right? Well, this was a real video posted back in January 2024, and it's the perfect example of what we're talking about. It is designed from the ground up to just grab you. And guess what? It absolutely worked. A single one of these videos pulled in over 100,000 views. So, this isn't some weird video hiding in a dark corner of the internet. We're talking about a massive audience, tons of people, watching something that is, when you get right down to it, a total lie. But here's the thing, the whole story just completely falls apart once you look a little closer. The video screams about a January 2024 arrest, right? Well, the actual footage they use, it's from a totally different incident way back in 2015 at UCLA. And in that case, prosecutors didn't even press charges. This is what you call a cheap fake. They just grab some real footage, rip it out of context, and stitch it together to tell a whole new, completely false story. So this all leads to the big questions, right? The core of what we're breaking down today. How are these videos even being made, especially so many of them? And maybe more importantly, why are they spreading so unbelievably fast? It's really a two-part puzzle. You've got the creation, and then you've got how it gets out there. All right, so let's tackle the how first. We're going to get into the digital forensics here and break down the tech that makes all of this possible. And you might be surprised at just how easy it is to get your hands on this stuff. Okay, so the secret sauce for the audio is something called AI text-to-speech. It's pretty wild, actually. It means a creator can just type out a script, feed it into the program, and an AI just generates a human-sounding voice that reads the whole thing. You don't need a microphone, you don't need a voice actor. All you need is a script and the right software. And look, this isn't just a hunch. NBC News actually had a deep fake detection expert, a professor named Siwei Liu, analyze the audio from a bunch of these videos. And the results are, well, they're pretty stunning. His model found that the audio in a fake video about Bishop T.D. Jakes had more than a 90% chance of being AI generated. And that Diddy arrest video we just talked about? Get this, over 98% likely to be fake. That's pretty much a certainty. Ben Coleman, who's the CEO of an AI detection company, put it really well. He said, look, faking photos and stuff, that's nothing new. But what's changed is that these new AI tools have basically put the whole process on autopilot. It's made it super fast and super easy to create fakes that are actually pretty convincing. He says we're seeing an exponential increase in this stuff. It's just a whole different ballgame now. Okay, so that's the how. We get it, the tech is there. But that brings us to the second, maybe bigger, question. Why? Why is this happening? And like with so many things on the internet, if you follow the trail, it usually leads back to money. So investigators from NBC News uncovered this really fascinating pattern. They found these channels that started out making totally normal stuff, like tech reviews, gadget unboxings, that kind of thing. But just look at the numbers. They were getting practically no views. We're talking less than 1,000 views per video. They were basically shouting into the void. But then, that exact same channel makes a change. They pivot. They drop the tech reviews, and suddenly they start pumping out this fake celebrity news. And the result? It's an absolute explosion. The channel's total views just skyrocket past 20 million. I mean, the incentive to create this kind of misinformation, it's just massive. And make no mistake, this is not just one or two rogue channels. This is a system. You've got dozens of these channels out there, and the median view count for each one is 21 million. Some of them have even been traced back to a digital publishing company in Sweden, a company that was literally posting job ads for freelancers to make content for a rap-related YouTube channel. This is an organized money-making machine. This whole thing isn't just about fake videos and big numbers. There's a real human cost. The strategy behind all of this is actually pretty insidious because it's not random. It's specifically designed to target one community by taking advantage of some really complex feelings about trust. So you have to ask, why is this kind of disinformation so incredibly effective? I mean, what makes people not only click on these videos, but actually believe them?
Angelica Nwandu, she's a founder of The Shade Room, which is a huge source for Black culture news, and she explained the real-world fallout. She said her own audience, people who follow her for real news, will see these fake YouTube videos and think they're legitimate. They'll actually send messages to her team asking, hey, why aren't you covering this massive story? They don't realize the story they're talking about was just made up.
And that right there, that's the heart of the whole strategy. For a long, long time, there's been a very real and understandable distrust of mainstream media within the Black community because of how their stories have been covered or not covered. So what do these fake news channels do? They slide right into that gap and position themselves as the alternative, the real story that the big guys are supposedly hiding from you. And like Angelica Nwandu said, they basically weaponize the culture to pull it off. They use the right slang, they know the jargon, they do everything they can to sound like they're in the know, like they're part of the community. They build this completely fake sense of trust by basically mimicking the voice of the people they're trying to fool. Okay, so finally, what about the platform itself? Where does YouTube fit into this whole mess? Let's take a look at their role in both creating the problem and maybe, just maybe, being part of the solution. And this is where it gets really ironic. You have these videos being made with AI, and then they get pushed out to millions of people by YouTube's own AI. The recommendation and search algorithms see that these videos are getting tons of clicks and engagement, so the system just promotes them. At one point, if you searched for Diddy arrested, that fake video we talked about was the #1 result. Now, when reporters asked YouTube about this, they said they are taking action. They're doing things like shutting down some of the channels, taking down the videos that break the rules, and demonetizing them, which is a big one. It means they can't make ad money anymore. They've also said they're planning to add labels to AI-generated content sometime in the future. But it's basically a game of digital whack-a-mole, isn't it? For every channel they shut down, a new one seems to pop right up. That lure of easy money is just too powerful. And that labeling system they talked about, the one that could actually warn people about what they're watching, yeah, that's not here yet. So in the meantime, this stuff just keeps spreading. And all of this really leaves us with a massive question, not just about YouTube, but about our future online. We're now in a world where anyone with just a few clicks can create a pretty convincing fake reality. And in that world, when it gets harder and harder to tell what's real and what's not, is just slapping a little label on something really going to be enough to fix the problem? That's something I think we're all going to have to figure out.